and welcome to this Friday's edition of the Startup Central. I'm Nayantara Rai, working from home. This is the only show of its kind on Indian television dedicated, of course, to startups, innovation, technology, disruption, entrepreneurship. Basically, if it falls under the gambit of the new economy, it's here every weekday at 6 p.m. on your favorite channel, ET Now. Ladies and gentlemen, stay in touch with us. Tell us how we can improve Startup Central. We want to hear from you. What's missing? How we should be adding things, doing things differently. Write into us. Our email address right on top, suc@etnow.tv. So, we've just seen these massive sales on Flipkart. The Amazon one is still on. And guess what has been an absolute sensation? Gaming consoles. That's right. We're in the era of smartphones, but gaming consoles have been a runaway hit, with the Xbox actually getting sold out very, very quickly. So what's behind this rage? We've been hearing about how gaming is going to be the next big thing. Mukesh Ambani said it could even be bigger than e-commerce. Startup Central's executive producer, Varun Warrior, gets you this special report.
The COVID-19 induced lockdown and social distancing has made gaming one of the biggest sources of entertainment in India. We first saw this play out in the world of fantasy sports, where Dream 11, MPL and Loco have become huge forces to reckon with. This is also getting translated now into the traditional world of gaming. Gaming laptops, graphic cards, gaming consoles, joysticks, headphones and even gaming mouses. All of them sold like hotcakes this festive season on Flipkart and Amazon. Flipkart said that a shift of mobile gamers to larger PC gaming meant the entire sale of gaming laptops in the Big Billion Days got completed in the first 2 days itself. Amazon too has been seeing a steady increase in demand in the last few months. Interestingly, people are still buying older versions of consoles and games even while newer launches are awaited. Amazon said that in September 2020, the newly launched Xbox Series X was sold out within 15 minutes of going live. Now compare that to a Pixel phone that took 30 minutes to get sold out. Another interesting fact this time around is that most of the new demand for gaming accessories is coming from India's Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. It looks like Bharat has certainly joined the gaming season this time, buying in huge quantities from e-commerce platforms. With Varun Warrior, Chandra Ashrikant, ET Now.
Well, there you go. That's what a runway hit gaming has actually been, and it's a story we're going to build upon right here on Startup Central. We're going to be joined by Loco as well as MPL. But that conversation coming up after this short commercial break. Don't press that button. We'll be back in less than 2 minutes. Welcome back. You're watching Startup Central with me, Nayantara Rai, working from home. This is the only show of its kind on Indian television dedicated to startups, innovation, disruption. And boy, is gaming all set to be a big, big disruptor. Look at the trends that we actually saw on the Amazon and Flipkart sales. Let me just take you through that, and here's a quick recap. When you look at Flipkart Big Billion Days, the entire sale of the gaming laptops last year was clocked in the first 2 days this year. 20% growth is what you're seeing in Tier 3 cities for gaming laptops. Amazon, that sale is of course still on, but the Xbox Series X was sold out in flat 15 minutes. We're in this era of smartphones and gaming laptops becoming more popular, especially in Tier 2 and Tier 3 towns. Is that a massive opportunity? I'm going to be discussing that and more with Naman, who's the Senior Vice President at MPL, as well as Firasat, who's the Vice President of Operations at Loco. Naman, let me come to you first. I know you guys have your hands completely full between all the sponsorship ties that you have for IPL. But just look what's happening here, and this massive, massive movement when it comes to gaming, particularly in the smaller towns. You are primarily for the mobile. Are you missing out on something?
No, absolutely not. I think, look, gaming in general as an industry is seeing fantastic trend, right? Which is a phenomenon across the board. If I'd specifically talk about mobile gaming, look, it has always been a choice of the mass, right? There's one of those devices, especially if I talk about India as well. It's a mobile first generation, right? If you talk about the age segment between 18 to 24, their first interaction with technology happens through mobile. So that's a trend that's not going to be, in any case, unnerved. Of course, at a large or top-down basis, gaming will pick up, and the other markets will also see certain shifts. But that will not have a cannibalizing effect on mobile gaming for sure. We're talking about whether you talk about any of these forecasts, the leading reports like Newzoo or any of the leading KPMG reports. We're talking about 600 million mobile gamers by end of 2023. So that's a big shift from the current, almost doubling the mobile gaming base from current to 300 million users. So I don't see it as a fundamental cannibalizing shift. The gaming in general is going to grow, and mobile gaming is going to grow faster than the other industries.
Firasit, let me ask you the same question. Most of the startups have actually been focusing on gaming, esports, to do with our mobile device. Time to rethink?
Absolutely not. The answer is just a matter of scale. Right now there's, between 400 million to, the reported 600 million to it going up to 800 million smartphone handsets. Compare that to in a quarter, they do 4 million to 5 million. And, putting aside the same numbers that we just saw, it's very clear that gaming as a category in PC has, grown humongously. But, the scale just doesn't match up with mobile. However, something interesting that we'd like to point out, we are a broadcasting platform, and esports is like a big part of what we do. What we've seen is that sales for tournaments that are PC oriented have gone up. Like in this quarter, we have seen more sales for PC tournaments than mobile. And that's something that's definitely just driven by the advertising peripherals market.
Okay, but if I could come back to you, Naman, you talked about KPMG reports, all of that. I still remember the conversation that Mukesh Ambani had with Satya Nadella, where he announced for the first time that, gaming in India is perhaps going to be bigger than the music business, is going to be bigger than the TV business. I think he also talked about drawing parallels with e-commerce. But where is India, according to you, when it comes to gaming vis-a-vis the world? Are we still behind the curve? Because I think the lockdown has also perhaps created a lot more demand than what we were seeing earlier.
Right. No, look, I think that's definitely changing, right? When you talk about, so there are two parts to this nuance in terms of the gaming industry, right? In terms of the consumption itself, India is by far the largest market, right? We are talking about, I think a population of 1 billion, and that turns into a, active mobile gaming population of more than 300 million. That's bigger than the US population itself, right? So I don't see there is any issue in terms of the TAM itself. Now, when we come to the monetization aspect of it, that definitely, is picking up. We were, in that sense, the traditional models around in-app purchases and advertising, those were not the models that could have scaled up very, very, quickly in India. But I think the newer models that are emerging with respect to RMG or esports, that is really driving the growth in terms of monetization as well. So I do see that shift changing. India is one of those geographies that globally is being looked at a very, very promising market in terms of gaming, and newer models are emerging which will drive the growth in gaming industry in India.
So we talk about driving the gaming industry, which could become, for the population of the target audience being larger than the population of the United States. I want to build on that a little more. So Firasat, let me ask you this. Yes, it's primarily mobile at the moment, but, it will be a matter of time before we are where, like, for example, with Korea, where we go into the gaming laptops, the matching accessories, the early trends, the green shoots, if I can call it that, are still there. Or are we just reading too much into it?
I certainly see that we're reading too much into it, as Naman was pointing out. See, it's the reverse in the world. I know, like, compare broadcasting platforms with. I mean, if you check out, Twitch, you'll see more PC games getting streamed than mobile games. However, we have an expression saying India is not a mobile first country; it's a mobile only country, considering the difference that is there in both these markets. I mean, one is just minuscule in front of the other. See, the total addressable market size for PC is definitely seeing a phenomenal growth, and that is, as Naman pointed out, as the growth of the ecosystem and industry as a whole. And all of this is positively contributing to gaming as one of the upcoming industries that has not yet seen its mark and is yet to see its growth ahead of it. And so I mean, we have seen this in broadcasts for various games. We like to believe that a game is only as popular as the number of people watching it. When there is a tipping point, when the number of people watching a game increase than the number of people playing a game, we like to say that the game is now popular. That means, I mean, the same works for cricket or like anything else. When there's more viewers than there's players. So right now, it's still a very, very far leap for PC to reach out if we just consider, numbers from our platform. That's a live streaming platform where people like to stream their video games, or comparative platforms like, YouTube. It's still a far ahead number.
So, you've said this is a mobile-only market. Is gaming also a youth-only market at the moment? Naman, I'll let you answer that. Is that the market at the moment, the youth only? And with that, does monetization also become a challenge? Because, with that age group, they only have access to so much money, right?
No, absolutely. I think that was, if you asked me, a year back, probably that statement would have been true. But and would definitely say that one is, of course, I think mobile penetration itself. If you see in a household, right, you're talking about more than 2 to 3 devices in a household. So from that respect, if you see the consumption pattern on media, it is across the board, right? It's not just that the population of youth is only consuming media in general, but it's pretty much spread across all segments. And specifically in that pie, if you talk about just screen share, right? Currently, more than 50% of the screen share is actually on gaming. So this is a cross-segment phenomena. In fact, COVID and lockdown has only kind of increased it because you see in a household, you see of course the kids and the younger population kind of playing games. The parents also get excited. Okay, what's really happening? Let me try some games. And it's a good very interactive content to engage with, right? Unlike passive content, gaming is one sort of category that does kind of engages the mass, right? So I would say it's not really limited to youth. From a monetization perspective, also, I think there are two parts to it, right? One, the existing models where in-app purchases largely when you kind of buy certain skins or like you level up with lives, that is a little slower to pick in India. But if you talk about some of the newer models, as I was speaking about, like whether it is competitive gaming, real money gaming, or esports in general, that is also seeing a shift, which is there is definitely a pickup from all segments, right? So I would say if you talk about the largest share of the pie, it is still youth. I would say probably 60 to 70%. But the other segments are growing fast, and you would see this is an all segment kind of phenomena that's going to turn out in the near future.
So you're saying households are now open to it. parents want to see. So let's see what happens in the post-COVID world. I know you guys don't have a crystal ball, but this is, I guess, the time to make sure that they stay addicted and with you guys even during the in the post-COVID era. But Firasa, let me ask you this. It's very interesting to say households are getting interacted. You're seeing so much screen sharing, blah, blah, blah. But where are the women? Are they into gaming as yet?
Yeah, interestingly, this is a phenomenon across platforms. I mean, there's definitely platforms that have shown trends that are not so controlling when it comes to non-diversity. But I'm happy to say that Loco has made efforts and has established both properties as well as worked with content creators that are. I mean, we have content creators like Zaya, who's like the biggest girl gamer in the country. That's a thing now, and because the industry is just beginning, a lot is there to come. The amount of girls that used to participate in esports in this year has also gone up so much, so that we had to have weekly tournaments for girls for PUBG, for playing PUBG at on local live streams. And so we're also starting to see female data cohorts. Like one very important insight we observed was that when the girls select a category, they stick to it, versus men keep switching categories, games, as well as tournament types. And this sort of stuff has begun, and it's going on at a happy pace. And because the industry is like yet to reach its core zenith, I'm very hopeful, from this industry rather than any other compared to right and left.
Let me ask Naman what he's seeing. Naman, are you seeing women take to gaming? Are you having to create special games for them, content for them? I mean, just make sure they're in the marketplace. Where do you see that going?
Absolutely. More than 30 to 35% of the user base, which of MPL, which is a fairly large user base, we are talking about, over 60 million users. So already on that base, we're talking about at least 20 million female gamers, right? And we have over 70 plus titles, out of which we do daily contests, and pretty much, in good 50% of the titles, you'll see like in the top leaderboards, the top prizes are actually, started to kind of won by women. So it's definitely a trend. And in fact, I would say in our sort of user base also, the growth of female segment is growing much faster as well. So adoption is definitely there. I think the strategies are also getting evolved as a nature of this phenomena. We continue to launch games which are, I would not say female centric, but the way we see is that what would appeal to a larger base as well, right? So there are definitely games from time to time that we continue to kind of launch, which attracts both the segments.
Wow, yaar, both you guys are really making me feel outdated right now. So I think tonight, this is how I'm going to spend my Friday, trying to figure out gaming for myself. I used to only play Super Mario. I belong from that generation. But Firasat and Naman, thanks so much for joining us on this Friday's edition of Startup Central. It's been great talking to both of you. Look forward to more interviews.
Likewise. Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot.
Right, we're going to take a short commercial break, but we'll be back in less than 2 minutes, and we're going to be talking about Myntra, Amazon, and Airbnb. This is the Friday special, Startup Central.